Quiet Trek days? Nope. Election Trek days. Plus an unboxing. Today on episode 368, yes, Trekland Tuesdays live with me, Dr. Trek. Larry Nemecek coming at you here from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47 and yes, Trekland Treks. If you're in the LA area, greater SoCal, in fact, get in touch with me. We'll take a customized away mission like you've never thought of. I'll concierge you to all your favorite, well, 4 of your favorite real-life locations used in Star Trek across the ages. Get in touch with me at LarryNemecek.com or even TreklandTreks.com. Yes, we're back here in Trekland for some sanity, clarity, and a bigger picture in all things Star Trek. If you're watching us later on YouTube, hey, you can still leave comments below, but I would be great if you could join us sometime on a Tuesday live here at 1-ish Pacific and 4-ish Eastern time, and even 9-ish UK time and 10-ish Central Europe. Hey, today, on top of everything else, though, is National Voter Registration Day in the States. So that's going to drive today's show, and give a listen. I know this is only going to appeal today. Well, we've got a lot of interested looky-loos from around the world, but I'm speaking mainly to my Americanistas today, my Americanos, because we're in the campaign season here. And I'm only doing this because, number one, in case you hadn't realized it, it's kind of slow on the Trek news right now. Now, we are heading into, I was reminded, we are heading into New York Comic Con. And since it's so much off my personal radar, I haven't, but it's there. It's a potential for news headlines to come out. It's a potential for some updates for whatever, because we are shooting Starfleet Academy. There's series in production, et cetera, et cetera. We're all waiting on news from Netflix about Prodigy. We're all waiting about news in general about what the hell the streaming world is going to look like, much less Paramount. So right now, most of all, we're all waiting on Lower Decks in October. But right now, it's a little slow. It's kind of an interesting time. But for a lot of folks in Trek world, and people are enjoying the regional cons. Nashville was last week. There's more creation that's offering these regional all-Trek cons. I've already heard from folks who never had the chance to go to Vegas, much less New York. Maybe they've seen a Comic-Con, but they've never seen an all-Trek con, and there's no fan-driven convention in their area. It's been great to hear from people that haven't been to an actual Trek con in ages, be able to go and do that and experience that. So good on that. Otherwise, it's been a little slow. It's been a little slow on the news side for Trek, or even the commentary side, with one exception. And yes, as has been the want, well, the last 3 election cycles, presidential election cycles here, a lot of Trek folks find themselves in the spirit of the times. People love to say we're so polarized in America. What that just means is also could be interpreted as people are so involved and excited and see high stakes that our politics is not on autopilot and you can't let somebody else take over. So I'm just going to trip through today in a fairly short comment today, and then we'll see what everybody wants to talk about. But I just wanted to get into today about what's going on with the election season, both in a partisan and a nonpartisan way, and as Trek fans and American citizens, what you might be interested to know about in case you hadn't been catching this flying by on the socials. Now, the last, I guess since 2016, there has been a more political bent to our celebrities speaking out, which reflects the culture at large, which reflects kind of the times we're living in. I know since the 60s, look, everybody's been political. Leonard Nimoy would be involved with campaigns. Kate Mulgrew's husband was at the time was the Democratic nominee for the governor of Ohio at one point while the show was happening. 2002, was it? And or just after. So it's not like there's been this Pollyanna detachment. And we all like to say Star Trek's always been political with a small p. Yeah, Star Trek's always been woke. But as far as like overtly involved in campaigns, yeah, individual Star Trek folks have always been involved. but nothing like the last few cycles. So I'm just going to say this on a partisan side, and just because so many folks will be interested. And look, if you enjoy your Star Trek celebrities, there's some mega events. There's at least 2 about to happen where they're involved in part and wholly, where if you just want to go see actors and celebrities in an unguarded moment, it's awesome to go see this, because I believe both of these are free to go to. They're going to be soliciting donations for candidates, but it's still cool to see. So I'm just wanting to put this out there because they're flying by. There's a lot of these going on in different fields, but if you're a Trek folk, you want to know, number one, there's an event that started with Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, and her field that she's just calling it, and it is for Kamala Harris. It's called Geeks and Nerds for Harris. She's the host. It is a week from today, September 25th, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It is free with an RSVP. They've got a ton of folks involved. Mark Hamill, yes, Sean Astin, the cast of The Boys and Supernatural. But in Trek world, LeVar, Jerry, Ryan, Anthony Rapp, Uncle George, Takei, and I have to include Stacey Abrams. We have to include Stacey now in the New York, since she's the future president of Earth, according to Discovery, in the 32nd century. That is going on. You can go, and if you just go to, all they have is an Eventbrite page. So if you go to Eventbrite and look for Geeks and Nerds for Harris or Harris Waltz, you'll find it. Good enough. Week from today. Moving on, All Trek now. And I think, I don't want to give incorrect credit here on the founder. I think this started with Nana coming out of her women's book and her would-be women's documentary, Women of Trek. But there is an event called Women of Star Trek to elect Kamala Harris. It's going to be Thursday, October 3rd, at the same time, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. It's a Zoom call. You need to register for it as well. If you go to womenofstartrek.com, which is Nana's project site for her book, and they've got so many. They have. Stacey Abrams is hosting that. It is Kate Mulgrew. It's Gates McFadden. It's Michelle Hurd, Nana Visitor, Denise, Jerry Ryan. They've got Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey sneaking in as a male guest. The Sci-Fi Sisters are going to be involved with this. Just so many names all the way up and down the road. Oh, Terry Farrell, Catherine Hicks, Bertia Damas, Don Lewis, Captain Freeman, Elizabeth Denny, Commander Shelby, Linda Park, Hoshi herself, Ashley Sharp Chestnut, Picard's crew, Mary Chiefo, Rhonda Aldrich, Bonnie Gordon, Stephanie Chakowski, Yetidi Badaki, Kitty Swink, Marnie Moseman, who is John Delancey's wife and was in Loud as a Whisper, Chase Masterson, Martha Hackett, Megan Gallagher, Jane Brooke, and Elisa Goodman, who, yes, I needed to look up, but she is a casting director and worked on the first 2 years of Next Generation. And I'm sure by the time they get there, there'll be more. Again, it's the Geeks and Nerds is 3 hours. I don't know how long this one is, but if you want to see it, and again, if you don't like your Trek and politics to mix, then this isn't for you. And if you are supporting the Republicans and Trump, this is not for you. But I know the way where most of Star Trek sympathies lies, because I know the DNA of Star Trek. And I just want to make sure, sometimes these fly by, they're confusing. They've even made a joke about, the white dudes for Harris and all of that. So not to lose it in the weeds, this is October 3rd. You can go to womenofstartrek.com. That's where it's just a simple sign up. And then you can watch. You don't have to donate even. You can just watch and listen and see all your favorite actors like that dropping the mask. Because you know what? Actors and entertainers and sports personalities, whatever walk of life, the same as plumbers and pipe fitters and school teachers. If you're a citizen, you're a citizen. And you may not be an actor. You might be the biggest car dealer in the greater Cincinnati area. And you may have to pay for it with commercials, but you too might have a platform. And business people, just like actors, who in a sense are also business people to a degree, when it comes to politics, it can be a itchy situation, especially when things are a little more even-handed, because you run the risk if you make a public statement of alienating part of your potential client base, part of your potential fan base. So it's not just an easy breezy peasy thing to do, Taylor Swift. If you want to take that risk, no matter what you proclaim yourself, and I say all the sides, there's, in Europe, this turns into a 3 and 4 and 5-way situation. So get out of here if you say anyone who's got a public persona is not allowed to speak their mind about their politics. They're a citizen. And yes, they may have a big fan base. They may have a lot of attention given their way. But what's the alternative? You're going to limit their free speech? And a lot of that is free. They're not paying for it. So that's my 2 cents on that. Because the other way is, we have enough looming madness to go around censoring people on what they can and can't say, when all they're doing is just, proclaiming who they're for. As long as it's, not inciting death threats and bomb threats. Now, I wanted to throw in here, because we're not going to I wanted to get through these. Ding, ding, ding. And we've got an unboxing. But I did have a nonpartisan aspect to do, and it's returning. You may not remember this, but I think in 2024 was the first time we heard from Trek the Vote. So Trek the Vote 2024 has a landing page you can get to now. It's not fleshed out. They're talking about it'll be shortly. But the statement on Trek the Vote 2024, which is nonpartisan, says, we are a grassroots community of Star Trek fans volunteering alongside our favorite actors from the Star Trek franchise to support the fair and impartial process of democracy. We welcome anyone who can agree that voting should be safe and easy, elections should be transparent and secure, and everyone should obey the law and respect the outcome. You can put your email in there, and they will tell you what to do about getting set up for registration, voting, if there's help that's needed in signing up, transporting people to polls, all that kind of thing. It's not active. There's a launch page here. You can leave your name, and they will get to you when they're fully launched. We've got, 6 weeks to go now? 2 weeks? 1 week less than 2 months. That's Trek the Vote 2024. There was a Trek the Vote 2020 that performed the same task. And then let me just throw this in too. On the most simplest level of finding out if you're registered, because a lot of states have changed how they do registration lists and refreshing them. Some might say purging them. And a lot of times mistakes happen. So the blandest thing to tell, or the simplest thing to tell everyone is being advised to check your registration. Make sure it's up to date. There's a lot of just basic, bland ways to do that. Thank you, computers. You can go to usa.gov to check and confirm your voter registration status. You can go to vote.org. You can go to Vote 411 and check all that, especially if your state doesn't have its own tool. Your state may have a check your registration just for your state also. I know California does. If I look here in Zoom, I'd probably find some more. If your state doesn't, or if you just want to look in the national database and see how they work, usa.gov, vote.org, and Vote 411 are all three. Again, they're all nonpartisan. They're all governmental. That's just a way for you to check your registration. If something is askew, and believe me, when we moved in February, that was one of the first 5 things I did in the first 3 or 4 days we were here, was go down and re-register and make sure that my registration had changed. And now I'm all cut up. I'm here. I'm in California. Got my statewide general election packet here. So I should be good in my name coming to this address. But I'm urging everybody to check your registration. And then number one, so much, it varies state by state, but so much of that, if you have a problem, can do it online, check out. You may have to go down and talk to a person depending on where you are, what's going on. But I'm just urging you to the very latest, because you could have sat in your same house for 30 years and been voting right along, and not just presidential. You could have been voting on school bonds and local city council. You never know, especially these days, when something might have hiccuped and you might not be. And supposedly in America, since Florida's recount, You've been able to go down and vote provisionally if there's an issue, but you don't even want to have to go that far. And then later on, they confirm that you were legit, and then they count your vote. Well, that's an awful lot of in the weeds business in what could be a contentious after election day, long drawn out catch up, recount, or just long count with things of that issue. So you just want to be in there and know it and do it. And in California, at least LA County has a thing where the county registrar text, if you're signed up for it, will text you and say, your vote's been counted now, like that night or the next day or 2 days later. It's kind of amazing. But you just want to be upfront with it. No one wants to have to mess with the provisional ballot unless they have to. So I'm just urging everybody, no matter what you're planning to do. And of course, there's more than one election going on here. There's a whole, depending on where you are, there's a whole ballot of up and down ballot and state propositions or state questions and county and local and city. So we're in that time. I'm going to be clinging to my Trek optimism. I'm going to be counting down the days till Lower Decks is back on and we have actual Star Trek to do. And I have more second opinions to get out for fresh Trek. And then we're all going to be hanging on to see what's up with Section 31, the movie. Backdoor pilot, Michelle Yolis. And we'll see what 2025 brings. We'll see what Paramount brings. We'll see what the whole frigging industry brings. But for right now, this isn't a lot of people's viewport. So I'm sorry for boring you around the world, everybody. Except I know you're all curious, too, about what the hell is going on here. So that's it. That's it. I just wanted to get those across. Women of Star Trek is October 3rd. Women of Star Trek who support Kamala Harris is October 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Register for the Zoom call. You're there. And then a week from now, Geeks and Nerds for Harris Waltz organizing call is not sure exactly what kind of a call. It might be Zoom. We'll see. But that's the one that Linda Carter is organizing. And she's hosting along with her organizer manager, Sabrina Cutton, with a lot of people from across the genres, including Trek folks. And then I mentioned Trek the Vote. If you just want to be involved locally with helping people vote, registration information, all that kind of thing, being on hand to help if there's issues. And they've got it kind of in a Starfleet-y vein. So they did in 2020, where, they had ensigns and lieutenants and all of that, depending on how much you were able to help out. So just as a fun thing, not to get into a power structure about it. But you'd leave your email there at Trek the Vote. Oh, this is a wacky one. The URL, the website for Trek the Vote is trekthe.vote. You with me? Trekthe.vote. So hopefully if you did a wrong way, normal sounding when you would get back there, but just in case, it's got the odd URL. And then again, vote.org, USA.gov, and Vote 411 are three places where if you just want to check your registration, you can do it without a lot of political campaign hoo-ha. Just a nonpartisan, straight governmental board to do it. And then if something is amiss, you can take the steps. Hopefully, the clock hasn't run out on this, but hopefully you've got plenty of time to fix what needs to be fixed, if anything. All right? Now, I promised you an unboxing, and it's a box. We're not doing an unpackaging. We're doing an unboxing. Look, it's from Penguin Random House. All righty then. Let's see. Oh, let's see what I can get out of here. Yes, it's a real unboxing. My mom's scissors. These are at least 50, 60 years old, and they're still amazing. I can't remember the last time I showed them. All right. I'm excited for this because there's an event happening in Burbank. This better be what I think it is. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yes. Hey, Mom, the new brown paper wrapping is here. Oh, look what it is. It's Star Trek Discovery, the art of Glenn Hetrick and his Alchemy Studios. Yes. Now, this just came out. This is out and available now. It came out September 3rd. So Glenn Hedrick is one of the amazing makeup geniuses that you've seen. You know, we've got Neville Page. Glenn is a designer. Glenn Hedrick as an applier, designer, but also running the cruise and getting it out there. One of the many, many, many. But Glenn's Studios design. This book is on the discovery era, right? Revealing the magic of prosthetic makeup. So all the heirs apparent to our great Michael Westmore are now getting their name and their spotlight. And this is a pretty good coffee table book. See, it is. Let's see. It's 192 pages. It's in English, obviously. Now, Titan is the publisher. Thank you, Titan, for stepping up and taking the horns of the nonfiction publishing. Boy, that's really, there we go. So a lot of Glenn, including 5th season, a lot of art, a lot of behind the scenes photos, a lot of interviews with Glenn and his team. Joe Nazaro, who's been writing longer than I have from the Starlog days and onward, is the author here putting this together. He's done some of the other more recent nonfiction books. It's out. It's September 3rd. You can get it at Amazon or your local brick and mortar, I'm sure. This is just awesome. Let's look at the back panel there. There's David Thomas. Did anybody get to see David at Vegas? Updated Andorians. Yeah, updated Ferengi. Lurians. Oh, and some of the exotics up here at the top. Probably information about what would have been like the original Saru, multiple-eyed, the tardigrade, all of that from the early days and on. Just to say, Glenn's been working as a makeup artist for over 30 years and is the CEO of Alchemy Studios. That's his name. 2 Emmys, Outstanding Prosthetic Makeups for a series, 2 of them for Discovery. So, yay, Glenn. He's got the credit. And some of you may, of course, remember Glenn back from the days of the great reality game show, Face Off, that Mackenzie Westmore hosted and her dad would sometimes be a judge for. But yeah, so this has been out since September 3rd. It's awesome. Great. It is so amazing that these master artists and designers are actually getting books now these days. We've had such a wonderful backstage revolution the last 10, 15 years. Thank you, Titan, for picking up the beacon here, the baton, the torch, and helping get more out about our backstage folks in their own spotlight. They don't have to be a sliver of like one of my books. They can have their own spotlight book. Neville's book was out a few years ago. Of course, Dan Curry's had one. Mike Westmore finally did his own book after, in his day, these would have been soft paperbacks from Starlog. Look how far we've come. Yeah. Star Trek, The Art of Glenn Hedrick's Alchemy Studios by Joe Nazaro, out now at Amazon. Pick up a copy. I can't wait to dive in myself. Punch this. You know what? I think I'm going to do it right now. Punch this. Get rid of this shrink wrap right here. Let's not just have an unboxing. Let's have an unbooking. An unwrapping. No more glare. Look at this. What do we got here? Okay. We did the... Oh, Tunde did the forward. Very nice. With area. I mean, it's what you expect. There's lots of great photography and plenty. Oh, there we go. Some aspects and close-up work. Oh, the Beetlejuicean, making up your... it's organized by seasons. Interesting. And yes, there's plenty of text. There's lots of text and interviewees and how-to even. There you go. The Art of Glenn Hedrick and Alchemy Studios by Joe Nazaro from Titan, out now. I hope you can pick up a copy. And if you hang around Trekland, I'm going to say save the date. Our 9th anniversary open house for Portal 47 is coming up every year on the anniversary season for Portal. We're ending our 9th year. And I always celebrate by opening the doors, letting everybody in with a huge guest. This year, our 9th anniversary open house is going to be October 9th. Wednesday, October 9th, we're going to have a mock Ask Dr. Trek roundtable for newbies. It's like an open mic. It's 6 o'clock Pacific, and then 7 o'clock we'll have our guest. But you want to save the date for October 9th, Wednesday, October 9th. More to come. And, of course, part of an open house is the door prizes. And virtually, this is going to be one of them. DVDs, DVD sets, some books, I don't know, 5 or 6. So that's why you register, and that's so we have you for the drawings. And then we'll have a mock roundtable. I'm not a mock, a sample Ask Dr. Trek roundtable, and then our special guest of the night. So be watching for that, but save the date now. 6 p.m. to start the roundtable, 7 for our guest on Wednesday, October 9th. That's Pacific. So I know it's late Eastern time, but we're trying to be at least continental here, if not intercontinental. So there you go. We're doing what we can here. It's a little slow on the Trek news, but we're doing what we can. If you're with us on YouTube, hey, if you ever can make it live, you'll see me talk to the chat folks and have a great old time. But if you're leaving now, just let me say thank you for being here. Thanks for checking us out. Like and subscribe here on the channel. That would be great. And sure, maybe you're ready for a Trekland Trek at LarryNemecek.com. A full day, 6 hours of going to 4 sites that you pick out. I coordinate. I concierge you. We have a great time with lunch too, right? And of course, couldn't get through a show without thanking all of our Patreon folk here. Yeah, so I want to say a shout out to our TTL clubbers. You know who you are, but I want to say it anyway. Thank you, Chuck A., James Kerwin, Diana Hopkins, Jesse at Crusher Convo Podcast, Lawrence Todd, Halbjörn Gunnjonsson, Galinda Bruton, Andrew Jazimski, Josh Patton, Pranakasha Productions, Chris Jiggins, Keith Rombach, and Comedy Forecasts. And then our live wires, Rob McLean, Byron Bailey, J.R. Poole, Adam Hoenzi, James, Dave Gregory, Greg Wickstrom, and Casey Shafsky. Hey, I really, really do appreciate it. It's a lifeline here as we explore what we can do with the online live and situations. We've gradually been growing, so that's great. If you want to jump in, we're getting down to the end of the month. All it is I have a very simple Patreon, $5, $10 for a shout out. The $10 is access to some of the earlier years of our Portal 47 backstage creatives interviews. Some of them go on for nearly 2 hours. A couple of them go on past 2 hours. But that's the $10 level. I keep it simple that way. Patreon.com/TreklandLive. I really, really, really appreciate the support. That is awesome. And of course, if it's a Tuesday, that means it's a Tuesday twofer, which means it's a Trek Files is up. We're about midway through our 12th season. This week, the guest, who was my guest this week? Oh, yes. Guy you may not be familiar with, but you should. His name's Steve Lee. He's worked in the audio and sound aspect of the entertainment industry for 30 years. He was working in the sound libraries attached to the sound makers during the original series movies era, and since knows all the sound masters, musicians, is working to compile the Hollywood Sound Museum. They have it ready to go. They're looking for a building, but he joins us. We've got a memo from the 60s about just the dubbing stage. We talk about the industry. We talk about Star Trek folks from Doug Grindstaff all the way up to Ben Burt. It's a different kind of Trek Files and a different kind of Star Trek, which, of course, is what we're all about here. Not the same-o, same-o. So check it out this Tuesday. You can go to the new site at thetrekfiles.com, which takes you into the new Memory Alpha site, where you're right there with all the reader, the document, the player is all there together with the hot links. Or just get the podcast at your podcast of choice, and you can see all the Roddenberry podcasts. It's a growing family at podcast.roddenberry.com. Check that out if you would too. We're going to have some news, some news for the better coming up with the Trek Files in the next couple of months too. So you want to make sure and be around for that. Some new plans. Otherwise, just know you can catch me. Yes, I'm still on Twitter X, Larry Nemecek. I'm hanging in there because the Trek corner of Twitter is still pretty decent. And when you've got 13,000 followers there, I hate to give up on them. So we're going to be in there fighting the good fight, just doing Trek stuff. It's fine when you're in our corner. That's there. But yes, on Facebook, on Instagram, Larry's Trekland. Like and subscribe on YouTube if you're there right now, and even if you're not, do that, please. And of course, portal47.net. Go read about it. Go to it. And then when we ring the bell, make sure and get registered for our 9th annual open house. Wednesday, October 9th. Save the date, and then we will get you signed aboard as soon as we announce the guests, hopefully in the next week. Alrighty? I'm going to take that little micro break now as we say bye to our YouTubers. And we'll also say, please stay healthy, do all the things. Oh, stay woke, check the sources. It's getting pretty thick out there. There's a lot of traffic on some of the short video, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, you're probably seeing a flood of people desperately trying to look ordinary. I don't think they were there 3 months ago. So check the sources, would you please? And yeah, trek well, everybody.